Right, we're back. This is the Holocene, and today we're actually going to do we're going to do a video with additional information on the reverse cavity protocol. And I wanted to deliver some good news actually. So, the wife had a couple of cavities, went to a conventional dentist, and the dentist has basically made her panic and created like a code red situation. It took it took quite a lot of convincing her that we can figure this out. Even though she knows this information and she's seen what I've done in the past, she obviously, when it's you, it's different. And I don't think that she believed that she could do it. Generally speaking, her diet is pretty much in line with what I'm eating, which is kind of all the right foods to help remineralize your teeth, to help the oral microbiome, and also to keep the mouth and the saliva relatively alkaline. But I don't know exactly what's sort of caused this situation, but she, yeah, a few cavities have broke out. So what we've done, firstly, is we went like incredibly strict on the diet, everything that I spoke about in the first video. So if you haven't seen already, go to the reverse cavity video that I've done, and it's pretty much all there. The bulk of what we've done is in that video, but in the meantime, I've been looking at a few other things, had a couple of recommendations, and been down a couple of rabbit holes with it, and thought today I could piece it all together. And the other thing is the update I wanted to share in terms of the cavities is we actually went down last Saturday, Saturday before, to see our favourite dentist, Mark Marty Boys. We went to his holistic dental practice in Surrey, and he's had a look at the cavities, and he's confirmed that she has them at the very least under arrest at the moment. So, as he'd call it, we've put the fire out. So the fire has been extinguished, which is great. Now we're just going through the remineralization process, which I think is already happening. So that's really positive. So we've confirmed that yes, there's two cavities, but now having them looked at, it looks like they're starting to harden up and they're starting to sort of gloss over a little bit, which is what Ramel Nagel and Weston A. Price talk about when you have a cavity which is in the process of reversing. So that's really positive. So that's me now that's done a few, and her who's in the process of remineralizing two cavities. So one of the things that he's recommended, which we've gone forward with, is to get a upper and lower dental tray manufactured. So we've done that. We're waiting for the delivery, and what we're going to do is we're going to use them as a way to remineralize her teeth while she's sleeping or during periods in the day. So a couple of things that we can put in there, which I speak about in the other video, is the MI tooth mousse, which has hydroxyapatite and it has xylitol. Our toothpaste, the one that we use, has both as well, and it has another special ingredient in the toothpaste, which I'm going to talk about, which will be the last part of this presentation. So stay to the end and I'll cover that. And also we're going to use pearl powder. So I'm actually thinking of ordering two of these trays myself, just as a means of maintenance. Also to see if you can keep a remineralizing agent on your teeth while you sleep, even if it only stays on for half the night in terms of the actual product. That's a long period of time that you've got these positive like products that are helping your teeth. So that's something that I am going to do as well. So hopefully yours comes this week, and we can I'll give you an update on all that. But moving on, so we're going to go into the first part of the video, and this is something that I was actually using for my original protocol, but I didn't talk about. And I didn't talk about it because I don't know a huge amount about it. I don't think anyone does, to be completely honest with you. But I do trust that it works, and I can go into the reason as to why that is. And what we're looking at here is we're looking at tissue salts or cell salts. So, what are tissue salts or cell salts? They are, just by the way, essentially a homeopathic remedy. Slightly different than if you worked with a homeopath. Which maybe you could if you have cavities, but I chose to use tissue salts. So they are a preparations of minerals found in the cells. So you have 12 of them, by the way. So each one does something specific. And a combination that easily dissolves in the body. Only tiny amounts of each mineral are used in each formula. Just a 0.5 mcg per tablet. So essentially what this is it's like microdosing. But what my understanding is that if we look at our body as like an electrical system, which I believe it is, and you're getting the wrong signals. So as I spoke about in the first video, what is happening is your body, when it tries to alkalize the body or balance the pH, balance blood sugar levels and all of these other sort of chemistry things that are going on in the blood, the body will pull calcium out of the bones to put your body back into homeostasis. People that get regular cavities, not people that are like eating really shitty food and sugar and stuff like that. I'm talking just normal people that just tend to get more cavities than others. There's a few reasons. It could be you don't have the right mineral balance. Maybe your parents were eating a really bad diet when you were conceived and born. So you didn't get the right constitution. So that's definitely a factor. But also, I believe that there's like a signalling issue where the body starts to pull calcium from the teeth rather than distribute it accordingly around the body. So I've actually got a friend and who is going through this process right now, but actually the complete opposite to this video. So he's never had a cavity in his life, and I actually had this conversation with him a couple of years ago when I was finding this information out, because I was shocked. I was like, you've had none, and your diet's not great, and you don't really care too much about looking after your teeth, not like to the level that I do, but I've had issues and you haven't. And he told me about a year ago he's feeling really fatigued, really tired, and I spoke to him literally, this was like last week, and he's been diagnosed with some form of early osteoporosis and gum disease. So Weston A. Price was saying that traditionally, people either, when it comes to bad oral health, they'll end up with gum problems, or they'll end up with cavities, right? He has ended up in the gum section, so his gum disease is really bad. And also a form of osteoporosis, which means that the same process is happening in his body, where he's not eating the right foods, and his body is pulling calcium out of the bones to basically balance the blood levels, right? Alkalinity, sugar, all of this stuff. And this has been happening for a very long time. He wasn't shown by his teeth that there was a problem. So people that get cavities but they're doing all the right things, their teeth are basically showing them, it's a symptom, they're showing the individual that there's something that's going wrong. So in some senses, maybe you're more lucky if you're having issues with your teeth, because then you start to look into this and figure this stuff out, whereas he would have had no idea. So he's actually been told he's got a chronic vitamin D deficiency as well, like severely chronic. So that makes a lot of sense, because vitamin D is key for the bone matrix and basically bringing all the vitamins and minerals together into the bone. So that's quite interesting. So essentially what I think's happened with him is the exact same thing as what happens with people that get cavities. He just wasn't fortunate enough to be shown that this is the case. And I think it's this signalling issue where, for people like us, where it's not being distributed accordingly around the body. Your body is just pulling calcium out of your teeth. So the theory is that microdosing were more readily absorbed by the blood and into the body's tissue and cells than a larger dose that's found in mineral supplements. So I'm sort of looking at it as do both. But the manufacturer said they are homeopathic preferred, blah, blah, blah. So that's it really. So these, you can, like I said, there's 12. There are certain formulations which are good specifically for the teeth. Others will be for skin or different bones or joints or whatever. But I think this is all sort of done through the central nervous system as well, which is quite interesting. So the one that I was using is called Combination U or ComU, and this is to maximize calcium absorption. It's a combination of three, if I remember rightly, three of these cell salts that, like I said, it basically sort of sends these, I'm going to call it electrical signals to the teeth to stop dumping calcium. So what we have in combination U is calc phos, which is calcium phosphate, calc fluor, which is calcium fluoride, not the same fluoride in your toothpaste or your water, silica, which is silicon dioxide, and nat phos, which is sodium phosphate. So I used this personally for a period of about 4 months, and it's hard to tell the result. I mean, the results are I fixed my issue. So I'm not saying this is the be all and end all, but I'm saying I used it and whatever I did worked, and this was part of it. And the wife did the exact same thing. So I want you to bear that in mind. The only thing I would say with homeopathy that I'm a bit cautious of, or very cautious of actually, is that people that practice homeopathy can be, some people, not all, can be a little bit cult-like. I was actually in a dental homeopathic Facebook group, and I've seen people in there with all sorts of fucking horrors, real big problems, acute emergency problems. And I see the comments like, "Oh, just start taking calc phos," and it's like, it's so subtle. I think it's a death wish. I think it's going to take you months before you see any results. I don't think you have months. So I shared a lot of information in this group on multiple times, multiple occasions, and I actually got a few warnings. The warning was, if you read the description of the group, unless it's homeopathy, we don't want it in here. There's other groups that talk about other stuff. But I'm thinking, yeah, but this individual is in this group right now needing help, and I believe I have information that will help. So I got booted out of the group in the end. They're honestly a bunch of fucking idiots. It really wound me up because these people were in there for a solution. They're in there trying to find a solution, and they're just giving them this fluffy homeopathic stuff, which is good. I think it's good. I think there's definitely a place for homeopathy. But I think if you're looking at anything as the only, like, tool, then I think you're a bit of a tool. And that goes for diet as well. I think diet's key. Diet, as Ramil Nagel says, can balance the minerals in your saliva, and it can actually alkalize your mouth naturally. But I like to use alkalizing agents as well, just because why not? It's quicker, it's easier, and you can do it all together. So that's kind of my process. Again, the first video we go into all of this, but that is cell salts, and that's my understanding of cell salts. It's not hugely comprehensive, but this is what I did, and like I said, it helped me with the results that I got. So moving on to the next part of the video, and this is something that Mark told me about, and to be honest with you, when I first started taking cloves, I was like, fucking hell, they're horrible. Horrible, get stuck in your teeth. They numb your throat and your mouth. They're weird. They're hard to chew. And he goes, Jay, just keep doing it. You're going to love them. And I can tell you what, Mark, you are absolutely bang on, mate, because I love cloves now. I will have 2 cloves in the morning. I have 2 in the day at some point. And I'll take 2 cloves as I go to bed. So I brush my teeth, get into bed, chew them as I'm falling asleep. If I go out, I'll have them. I'll have 2 cloves in my pocket. You know, if I drink a coffee somewhere, I'll have the 2 cloves after the coffee to alkalise the mouth, and maybe after dinner if I'm out. I've actually replaced some of the xylitol chewing gum with cloves, just to make life a little bit easier. And I bought some organic cloves, a whole bag. I reckon it will last me 6 months for like £4. It's insane. And if we look at some of the benefits that cloves, I actually stole this this picture from the Healthy Hub. So sorry, Healthy Hub. But yeah, if you look at sort of the other factors the other benefits that cloves give you as well, it's way beyond just the oral health. But in terms of the oral health, we'll go into that in a second. But I've noticed some really, really positive improvements in my life. Like, yeah, teeth wise, just my teeth just feel so clean. It's just incredible. Gut feels better. I've been working on my gut for a long time, but digestion's just great. Um, the other thing which I didn't know about until looking into it is sex drive. That's one thing you need to keep an eye on that one. So as you do the teeth, the oral health and cavity reversing protocol, you'll realise your sex drive goes through the roof just because of all the, you know, good quality foods and minerals and all of this that you get with it. But cloves of that's something I've definitely noticed as well. Really good for fertility as well, which is something I've been looking into. So that's quite interesting. So yeah, cloves for the win. Definitely a big thing that I found there. So if we look into what cloves do for your teeth, so antiseptic properties, you feel that straight away. I mean, once you break the clove, if you kind of keep it in your mouth for about 10 minutes and then you can start chewing it and you can feel it numbs the mouth. It's crazy. Reduces tooth pain, yeah. Balances oral biome, which is what we're going to go into shortly as well. Reduces bacteria that cause gum disease. It also feeds the good bacteria, reduces gum swelling and irritation, and helps remineralize the teeth. So all of the above. So it feels like the kind of perfect remedy, really. So I've started using cloves on top of everything that I do, but I've just noticed some additional benefits. So get some cloves. I don't think you'll go wrong, to be honest with you. So if we look at the chemistry of cloves, eugenol, this is the kind of main factor, I think, that is like the Swiss Army knife. So the essential oil, so this is an essential oil. People do use it as a essential oil as well, which I don't. I like to just get cloves. As you can see in the picture, that's what they look like. 2 of them. Put it in your mouth, 5-10 minutes, and then give it a chew. So it's a remedy for dental pain. It's composed of mainly 70 to 85% eugenol. The other thing as well, which is quite big, is it's antibacterial, it's antimicrobial, it's like fungal. So if you've got any kind of yeast or candida issues, then cloves for the win again. And it's anti-parasitic, so it's actually one of the 3 herbs that Hulda Clark was using for her protocol. So cloves are definitely a big factor in this as well. Yeah, so as it says here, anti-inflammatory properties, antifungal, antibacterial, and yeah, just quality. So eugenol can also have a toxic side effect to larger quantities, which we don't do. We're only taking like 4 a day, maybe 6 a day. So I'm not too worried about that. I think the essential oil can cause problems. The essential oil as well. I've read that it can actually kill the nerve in your tooth, So be very careful with that as well. What else? That's pretty much it in terms of the whole beneficial side of cloves. I think really good for balancing your hormones as well. Testosterone for men, so that's another thing. Um, so yeah, this is one I'd like to thank Mark for bringing to my attention, and it's now become an absolute staple in our, well, I wouldn't even just say in our oral health protocol. It's just part of our life now. So yeah, definitely get yourself some cloves if you can. One last thing that I nearly forgot to mention actually is cloves also really help increase the production of saliva. So when you're eating the right diets and you've got the right balance of minerals in your saliva, you want as much saliva in your mouth on a continual basis as possible, and that will help with all of the things we're talking about: the enzymes, the oral microbiome, the production of this sort of balancing act between calcium and phosphorus, and also the alkalinity, so your saliva will become more alkaline. So, and also you're going to be cleaning and washing your teeth essentially all day every day because of the amount of saliva in your mouth. We spoke about in the first video as well, dry mouth. So this is one of the reasons why I tape my mouth at night, is to stop your mouth becoming incredibly dry, because then it becomes a breeding ground for these bacteria as well. This will be the last part of the additional information to the healing cavity protocol. I've taken this screenshot from Love Biotics. I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about them. Maybe look into them. But the information's good, and this is another part that I have been practicing for a little while. So I interviewed Clive de Cole on this podcast. Can't remember what episode number it was. But one of the things we spoke about in terms of teeth and oral health is the oral microbiome. So getting these good enzymes into the mouth to help balance the microbiome. So in the health space, we all know about the gut microbiome, something that people talk about a lot now. We spoke to Mark Linton about obviously his theory on cancer, and he was talking about the cellular microbiome. Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride, again, she's been on the show. We spoke to her about how we live in a we are a microorganism, and there's a microbial community, which creates our body, which creates life. So it's no different to the mouth, really. So we need to be looking at trying to not necessarily get rid of, but get under control the negative bacteria in the mouth, and feed the mouth with good, positive bacteria. So this is something that I've been doing a lot of, and one of the best ways to do this, in my opinion, is to buy toothpaste that has these enzymes. So good microbiome, promoting oral microbiome, promoting positive bacterial toothpaste. So I'm going to share a link of the one that I use. I think they're one of the best. A little bit expensive, I'm not going to lie, but I just think it just works really well. So you need to be feeding the gut with good quality bacteria. Things like what we do quite a lot is sauerkraut. We've been eating a lot of sauerkraut. Raw cheeses is one. Raw milk as well. Getting loads of good enzymes. And the other one that we do as well is we take a lot of kefir. So kefir's been great. So adding this to directly affect the oral microbiome and to create a microbial balance in the mouth, I think is key. And once you have the mouth under balance pH wise, the saliva being balanced with good quality vitamins and minerals, and then also the oral microbiome, I think you're onto a winner. And I believe that you'll become immune to cavities if you get all three of these factors in place. So you become immune to cavities, and your mouth will just be very, very healthy, and it will heal itself. So here's a slide that I found which sort of breaks down the balance in the mouth, acid producing microorganisms, um, alkaline producing microorganisms. It just talks about the balance. It goes into the different bacteria, Streptococcus mutans obviously being one of them, and essentially kind of how cavities are formed in terms of this balance that's going on in the mouth. It's an ecosystem. So with everything that I said, again, I advise you to go back to the first video I did, because this is just an addition. This is just bringing a bit more information into the bigger picture. You can't, I don't think you can just jump to this stage. I think this is something that this will come naturally by doing all the other things, but having the right enzymes in your toothpaste, as I said, or you could take, as Clive Cole said, you can take supplements and just put it on your tongue, and it will, it's like probiotics almost. That will help as well, but I think you need to look at this holistically and look at the balance between sort of all of the factors that I've mentioned. So just a little bit more information on the oro microbiome. I was doing some digging, I was reading some studies. There's not a huge amount of information out there, I've got to be honest. I think this is something that's quite new, probably known for generations, but in terms of like academically, it's something that we're starting to understand and look into. So yeah, just really focusing on balancing the pH. So every time you eat or drink, like especially like a coffee or tea or something that has tannins in and is acidic, try to balance that pH as soon as you can using all the things I've spoken about. But try to make sure you're eating the right foods as well as the toothpaste that I've recommended, which I'll put a link to, that will help you to constantly get the right bacteria in the mouth. And it will, like, this bacteria will keep the bad bacteria at bay. I don't believe that it's bacteria specifically that causes cavities. I went through this in the first video. But I think once you have a demineralized tooth and you're riddled with the wrong bacteria, I think that's where things can get out of control. So it's just balancing that microbial community in the mouth. So that is it. These are the additional things that I wanted to add to the protocol. The protocol is quite heavy. What I wanted to do really is throw the kitchen sink at it. So it is overkill. I understand that, and you might look at the information and only use certain parts of it, like in terms of killing the Streptococcus mutans. You might say black seed oil is the oil of choice. You might use H2O2, or you might use oregano. I used them all in a cycle really. So whatever works best for you. Diet wise, unfortunately, I think it is what it is. You need to be eating good quality, as organic like foods as you can. You need to be getting all the fat soluble vitamins and minerals. You need to be getting out in the sun, getting that vitamin D, natural vitamin D. And I just don't think you can cheat yourself on this. And the other thing, like I said, some people don't have any cavities, but they don't essentially have a warning sign that they're going down a dark path. And then they end up at 40 with arthritis or God knows what. I mean, it could even get worse. So I think a change in perception here, from my viewpoint, is you're quite lucky that you have something that is exposed on the outside of your body, clearly showing you that something's out of balance. So I used to look at it as a negative. Oh, why me? Why me? But I'd rather know, and then I can deal with it. And what this has all done is it's now, I've gone around the houses with a few things. I did the carnivore diet. I was vegetarian for a bit, a small period. Keto. I've been through kind of all this stuff, and this has really led me to like what I believe is the diet that I should be consuming. and it's the diet that clearly, if it can help me fix and reverse oral health problems, then that shows me it's healing. It's healing my body. So so that is that. There's one other thing that I wanted to mention that, I mean, I've known about for a long time, but I didn't really mention it, and I haven't given it the credit it deserves, and that is collagen. So collagen as well. When you look at the bone matrix, collagen's like the outer layer of all of it. So you've got all these different signaling mechanisms, like the cell salts, the K2, the magnesium, the borax or boron, um, vitamin D being like a big one that brings it all together. But then the other one is collagen. So we do quite a lot of like meat stocks a couple of times a week where we're getting really good quality collagen in as well. And I feel like the collagen has made a big difference for me as well in terms of just how I feel in general. And we've noticed with the wife, that's been a big factor as well. So getting in decent quality levels of collagen, good quality collagen, normally through boiling the meat. So like a stew or a broth or a meat stock or something along those lines as well. So get your collagen in, and yeah, hopefully this helps. If you look at my comments, I'll always get back to people. You know, I'm no expert in any of this stuff. I'm not a doctor. These are just my opinions. This is my experience, and these are things that I've seen work on myself and other people. So I believe I'm onto something. I really do. But I'll share information to the best of my knowledge at any given time, and I'll always do my best to help anyone who makes it this far in the video and who has any type of inquisitive mind and wants to know more, or has a actual physical or psychological health problem. I'll do my best to help. I'll point you in the right direction of people that I believe can help, information that can help, and that's what it's all about. This is what it's all about. This is the reason why I wanted to do this channel. I spent years looking into this stuff. I love interviewing and speaking to good guests, and I love looking at this information and applying it and watching the miracle of self-healing through non-pharmaceutical interventions. I just find it fascinating. It's amazing. So yeah, this is the additional information for the healing cavity protocol. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. It may help somebody that you know. And I'm definitely going to do some more videos on my own of different things. A lot around psychological aspects and like anxiety and protocols for anxiety and stress and things like this. So yeah, I'm going to bring more information out. So hope you have enjoyed the presentation.